Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel, Foundry RC, the best place to feed your need for everything RC. Alright, in this video, I'm going to start working on the car I'm calling Project Overbuilt. It's a Losi 5T 2.0, and I was building a race car. Actually, I was building a bash car, and I kind of bought a whole bunch of parts for it. And now we have a track around here, so I decided instead to turn to a race car. It's going to be a little overbuilt, a little bit more than what it needs, a little bit bling, a little bit of extra weight. But we'll start off that way, and then maybe I'll tear it back down and make it more race built. Alright, so the first video is going to be the teardown, where I'm going to break everything off the chassis. I've already shot the video. This is the stock chassis right over here. So that's the stock chassis I pulled off. I already have the new chassis on. This video I will show you how to remove the chassis, how to get everything off of the chassis. And it's also a good way to, if you need ever damage your chassis, you can swap out a chassis real quick by just taking all these steps off, have the chassis out, and then easily bolt its 4 pieces back onto the chassis, 5 pieces back onto the chassis, and you're good to go. Alright, hope you enjoy the video. I'll see you guys in the next part, where we're probably going to disassemble the rear end, or maybe the front. I haven't figured that part out yet, but we got builds coming. Enjoy the video. Alright, so we're going to disassemble the truck in sections. I'm going to do the rear first, followed by the front, and then everything in the center. As we're doing that, I'm going to show you some of the reasons why you should go over your trucks, your cars, everything before you run them. First thing I can see is with mine, the steering servo is loose to the point that I have a lot of slop. So that is just moving right here without turning the servo. There's a lot of slop there. So this screw right here is loose. And that would have caused a problem where I could have lost steering while running. I'm pretty sure there's plenty of other problems too. But alright, so let's start over. I'm going to turn the truck over. Alright, so to remove the rear end, we have to remove 6 screws. This one right over here, this one here, and these 4. And that will release the whole end. These 2 are the ones I'm going to do first, because this is to the support, the chassis support brace, which is going to be connected. So I'd rather get that all first and then pull the whole thing out. These take a 3mm, these take a 4mm. Let me see if we can zoom in a little bit. Okay, so yeah, we're going to remove this one here, followed by this one, and then these 4. So we're going to grab our 3mm Allen key. Pull it right out. Let me get a magnetic tray so we don't lose them. Alright, now a 4mm. Alright, now let me turn this truck over, and the rear end should come right off. And just like that, we release the whole rear of the truck. Now we're going to take this apart later on, and probably another video, maybe this video. Let's see what happens. And I'll show you all the parts you have to do in here. But that's the rear. Let's get the front. Okay, for the front of the truck, we're going to remove this screw right over here, and this one for the brace. That's again a 3mm. Now you notice I use an impact driver for this. It speeds things up, and if there's Loctite and things get stuck, it highly prevents things from getting stripped out. I use a Milwaukee fuel drive, and I use it on level 1. If you see that's lighting up, but level 1, so it's really not that powerful. It's also not that fast. It's really not going to strip anything or cause any problems. And if I need to, I'll bump it up to 2. I won't ever touch number 3 on the cars. I think it's too powerful for it. As you saw, that one came out no problem at all. That one too. I'm not sure if we have to remove these two. I think we do. This is for the steering. But I'm going to start with these 4 and we'll see what happens. Those are a 4mm again. Okay, so next we're going to take out these 2 right here. 3mm. Okay, that's not working, so I have to bump it up to number 2. Let's see. That was the rear drive shaft. This one here. Lots of Loctite on this. Alright, now, sorry about that. We could pull off the front end. Let me turn it back over so you can see it coming off. We also need to remove the bracket from the servo horn, because it is connected to the front end. So let's just do that too. Take a Phillips screwdriver. Okay. I'm going to place the screw back into the servo so I don't lose it. Okay. On the 5T 2.0, you also have the wiring for the lights. So we're going to have to cut the zip ties. There's one on the bracket right over here. Okay, so like I said, I had to remove the servo because that was attached to the front. So remove the servo, and because of the wiring which goes into the receiver box, the easiest thing to do would be disconnect this right over here. And once we do that, this is still connected, so we're going to cut the zip ties that they used to tie it down. That way the wire can go loose. I guess we could also remove this and open up, but right now I'm not ready to do that, so we're just going to cut the zip ties and disconnect it from the front end. Alright, so I'm just going to cut them. Disconnect the wire, feed it through the top piece here, and now the front end is free and released from the truck. Okay, then we're going to start in on the center, the main part of the truck. First thing we're going to do is we're going to remove the front and rear drive shafts because they should be just hanging out loose. I'm going to put them aside. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the servo horn, so that way the linkage is partially disconnected, because that gets attached to the engine and becomes a problem. So I'm just going to remove the servo horn real quick. And again, I'm going to put the screw back in so I don't lose it. Okay, after we remove the steering, the throttle servo piece, we're going to remove the engine mount plate, which goes to the clutch housing over here. That's the first thing we're going to do. So, a 3mm. Okay, so we take out that and the little engine spacer. Show you, we'll remove these. So once we have that out, now we're going to go to the bottom and remove the 4 screws holding the engine in. Okay, the next step is to remove these 4 right here. Again, 3mm. These did not appear to have any Loctite on them, so this could have been a problem. I have seen lots of these come out on the track, so it's a good idea to check these on yours. Make sure you have Loctite on them. Okay, now we're going to turn the truck back over, and we should be able to wiggle this out. We got to lift up the little bracket over here that was where the engine spacer was. We just got to lift it up a little bit, which, you know what, would probably be easier to do if we loosen these 2 screws here on the center thing, so let's do that real quick. These look like a 3 again. Yeah, 3mm. And we're just going to loosen them. We're not going to take them out right now. took one out. Okay, and now we can pull the engine out. Don't pull too far because we still have the linkage attached, and we have the fuel lines attached. So the fuel lines we're just going to pop off. The yellow went on top, the black goes on bottom, and then the engine, we're just going to rotate it and we can get the linkage out. Like there, and there. Now we have the engine removed. So we were rotating around this piece right here. Right here. And it was just, for the people that don't know, it was inside this piece right over here. So we literally just had to twist it around and get it out. Not a big deal. Put these screws back in for now. Alright, the next thing we're going to do is remove the gas tank. And to remove it, it looks like we got to remove these three, and this one. So let's start with the front three. It's a 2.5 millimeter. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm not sure about that one yet. That one had some rust in it. Brand new truck. And yes, I believe this one too. Yep, okay. We had a screw here, here and here, 2 here, and 3 over here. So now all we have left is the center diff and the radio tray. And we're going to do the radio tray first, which looks like everything is a 2.5. So after removing all the screws, we got our radio tray out. And now we're left with just the center diff, which we'll take out those 4 screws and we'll have it out. Okay, so 4 millimeter, 4 screws. And we have our center diff out, along with the linkage attached to it because I didn't remove it. Alright, the next step is to remove the side guards, which is just a matter of 1, 2, 3, 4 screws on each side, and these look about 2.5 millimeter. 2.5, and sure enough it is. So we remove the 4 screws on each side, the side pieces come off, and we're finished with the teardown of the main chassis. If you ever just want to change your chassis, that's all you need to do, and you put all those screws back and you're good to go. Alright, so 2.5 millimeter bit, 4 screws each side. And just like that, you're done.